done it! I cannot believe it! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again!
Hello everyone, we are Through on Goal, a podcast where we talk about football and pretty much nothing else. My name is Sam, and as always, I am joined by my co-host and very best friend, and not at all going to be unbearable this episode, Elliot. Hello, Elliot.
What, again?
Again, absolutely. How has your week been?
What do you mean besides winning our first league title since 1966? Yeah, it's been all right.
Has it been all right? Yeah,
It's been all right. How's your week been? Any
Well-
league titles? Any?
Any league titles? Mate, come back when you win League Two.
I haven't been in League Two since I think I was 7 years old.
All right, okay. Let's settle down because you'll have your moment. My week has just been my week. Right, we've got a bit contrasting here, okay, because what we were going to start on is, of course, what would have been Man United-Liverpool, or what quite possibly would have been just the most boring game we ever watched, because it's hyped. It's a hyped game.
Oh, it'd been 0-0, wouldn't it?
Absolutely 0-0. However, it didn't quite go to plan.
Well, there were still 0 goals.
Well, yeah, arguably what happened was probably more entertaining than the game. Elliot, your thoughts on today's protests?
Also, we've just said this is more entertaining than the game. It's probably going to be ending up being played tomorrow, and it's going to be 5-4 now. It just is.
But if it is, yeah.
Yeah, on the protests,
It's all the drama, Mick. I just love it.
it's...
Elliot, right, just a bit of context here. Elliot spent about a minute, 2 minutes before we recorded to try and get that in the perfect spot. And, well, we'll see by viewers' reactions whether that was worth it.
Well, I'm a football fan. I know what it's like to support a club with poor ownership and wanting to protest it. And yeah, I just love chaos. And it's... Yeah, it was entertaining. It's just refreshing to see fans back in the ground.
Yeah, I was going to get your point of view on that, actually, because, yes, Hull City arguably, probably do have one of the worst owners in English football. You'd try and...
I'd say top 10. I'd say top 10. I'm not going to go overboard and say we have the worst in English football, but I'd say top 10.
You are still in existence, I guess, which is a fair point, but obviously through the years, not ideal. Obviously, we talk when Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, they talk...
You were going to say Redknapp there, weren't you?
I was about to say Redknapp. They talk very, very passionately about the protests and what has gone on.
They're football fans.
And that's what you like. That's brilliant, what you like to see. Dave Jones seems to really, really want them to say these are very bad people.
No, it's who's in his ear is wanting them to say that. But.
And I feel bad. I feel bad for him unless it comes out saying no, because Jamie Redknapp said, "I know you've got
Jamie Carragher."
Carragher. Oh my word! Jamie Carragher said that I know you've got to play devil's advocate, and he said, "No, I'm not playing devil's advocate." You are.
Yeah, this is someone who the last time he interjected on a debate on Sky, it was for a more balanced view on racism. So
you got to get the righty side, don't you? Don't get me wrong, Gillingham and Scally have never really got along very well. Not to this extent. He has kept the club alive, and granted, we are in League One for the 8th year running now, or 9th year, I don't know. But from your point of view, seeing these protests and, from a club, loving a club that has these owners, do you get it?
Oh, absolutely. And we've had protest after protest. In the years we were kind of hovering between the Premier League and Championship, we were having protests almost every home game. And one of those protests, it will never be forgotten, was Sheffield United at home. The protest was that everyone brings whistles, blah, blah, blah. And one of those whistles, about 20 minutes in, was blown. And Leon Clark, the Sheffield United striker, who I think had previously scored 4 goals in a game against us, stopped because he thought the ref had blown the whistle. So he was about to score, and note, because someone in the North stand thought he'd blow a whistle, he saved us from one less goal on our goal difference that season.
Did you still go up or down?
No, that was one of those seasons where we were in a relegation battle for about 3 months and then stayed up by about 10 points.
Oh, fair.
Pretty comfortably.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, no, I completely understand it, and I've not quite seen anything on this scale before, because it's United. They are
Old Trafford, that's...
They are arguably, if they're not the biggest club in the country, they're one of 2 or 3. And yeah, and these are the supporters as well, which I know there's football nowadays, it's an international sport. You have got Premier League fans in all corners of the world, but these are the fans that go. These aren't the fans that set their alarm for 6 a.m. in the morning to watch on on a stream. These are the fans that sit at the Stretford end every other Saturday, every Tuesday or Thursday, depending on how far it is into the season. Yeah, no, they're football fans who are fed up and they've wanted to voice it, and they've had enough. They are the only club as well that have a breakaway team in protest to the owners. FC United and Manchester were formed on that basis.
That's very true. Yes. Yeah, no, I forgot about them. Yeah. Yeah, obviously there are a few idiots. Balance of play, yes, there's a few idiots, of course there is. But seeing I think, are the Glazers, right, let's be honest here. Are the Glazers going to do anything? Absolutely not. I don't think they're going to do anything. I don't think it will force them to sell. I don't think anything's going to happen.
I think it might be a stepping stone.
It's a difference. Don't get me wrong.
If you're getting games called off because of your actions as an owner, and okay, they're probably not even watching, they're probably sat on a beach in Key West or wherever it is in Florida, they're going to have had to answer phone calls from Premier League bosses on why this has happened, why one of the biggest games in the English football calendar has had to be postponed.
Yeah, because Sky's obviously lost money on that, and
money's what makes the world go round. It's the reason they tried to start the Super League.
Exactly right. And then how much that has blown up, I think, I don't think anyone was I think anyone that doesn't know football would not have expected that to have blown up as much as it has. To be fair,
which is why they probably went ahead with it, because they don't know football. They're businessmen. They're not football people or soccer people.
Don't.
They don't get the game. They don't get the emotional attachment. It is simply, to them, it's a paycheck.
Yeah. I hear you. I was thinking, obviously, because when you said about obviously Storm, because it started with Carrington, didn't it? At the training ground, they did get in, and then obviously fans inside the stadium. Now, let's be honest. If fans wanted to get into Priestfield, it's so easy.
Dead easy, wouldn't it? Yeah.
The family stand is literally guarded by a gate. It's a gate which Niall Ranger got in. If Niall Ranger on that day that I kicked him out wanted to start a protest against Scally not signing him on a free,
I'd have been surprised.
It would have been a laugh, to be fair, but he could have. He just walked right in. Yeah. Anyone could have done it. But Old Trafford is a stadium where you would think, how the hell have they got onto there?
It's the biggest club stadium in the country.
It is.
Yeah. You'd like to think it would be a bit more difficult than just a few people who have had a drink and just walk straight in, because it seems like once they kind of got through those little metal fences that get set up, it seemed like they basically just had free roam to just walk straight on through to Old Trafford and then onto the pitch. Who's stopping them?
Yeah, because I know there's no fans in the stadium anymore, due to COVID, but being a Man United v Liverpool game, I would have thought there would have been police presence.
Potentially, but a police presence there's a difference between a police presence for what is just a standard game that's happened dozens of times over the last 12 months, where it's behind closed doors, they're not expecting very much, and if there is, it's kind of on a minimal scale, to, I don't think I'm emphasising, tens of thousands of people outside the stadium. You can prepare for a little protest, or you can prepare for a match day, but you can't prepare for what it ended up being.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And largely, obviously, peaceful. You did have a few Rooney impressionists doing their best bicycle kicks into the ground. One of my I don't know if you've seen it, one of my favourite things. He's got to be like 15 or 16-year-old. He's sitting on top of the goal, and then he's literally getting down, and someone shoots a ball into the net.
He's gone.
He makes him fall off. You love it. You absolutely love to see it. But yeah, Elliot, let's move on to the next note, which is Hull City are massive. I've got a feeling I'm probably not going to be able to say much on this one because Gillingham aren't.
Not at the moment. Not at the moment.
Give it time.
Maybe next year. Hashtag Gillingham do something and all that.
Hashtag Gillingham do something and all that. I'm glad you're getting behind our hashtags very enthusiastically, Mr. We're in the Championship now. Well, League One, who cares?
Maybe you'll make the fourth round of the Carabao Cup next season or something.
What did I say at the beginning? I said it's going to be unbearable.
Yeah, well, going into the weekend, we just needed to better Peterborough's result to win our first title in, quick maths, 55 years, I think that is. And we won. Peterborough didn't. So that's the title secured, and
that'll do it.
I feel like from the previous week when we won promotion, we saw a lot of videos coming out of the club from the players. We had Sean McLaughlin at the training ground on his guitar with everyone singing Bohemian Rhapsody, Mr. Brightside, any song that you could imagine on the bottom floor of any club. And Yeah, so we saw a lot of videos of the players celebrating, and I think after the week that he's had, I think if you cut George Honeyman, his blood would be sort of 4% alcohol at the moment.
Yeah.
But with the social media blackout that is, and I understand why it's there, and it's for a far bigger reason than football. I'm hoping that we do get to see some videos from Tuesday onwards, because I'm sure the players are absolutely loving it. We had a few hundred fans come down to the KC for full time, and they're all celebrating. You got smoke bombs, you got players, you got beers, you got Graham Souness nowhere near. And the players all came out, had a little bit of a celebration. There's a segregation, which you can understand because they've got their bubble. From what I've seen from interviews that have come out, they're just very glad to have even seen the fans. They've had this long season of so far 45 games with next to no fan presence at all. Like the only game that I can think of that there are actually fans at were Oxford away, which I think was probably the second game we lost this season. So I don't think we've won a game in front of fans all season. And yeah, it was relief more than anything, because as good as it was to get promotion, and it is a relief because it could have been a lot worse. You look at teams like Sunderland, who have been in League One for far longer than they'd have wanted to be in. We're out at the first attempt, but to know that we're going to the Valley next Sunday and we're going to get a guard of honour from our Nige and we're going to lift the trophy with the black and amber ribbons. I can't wait. And also congratulations on England for winning the Euros this summer, because the last time, well, actually the only time since England have entered international tournaments that we have won a league is the only time that England has ever won an international trophy. So if Harry Kane is lifting the Euros in the summer, it is down to Grant McCann and his boys.
Elliot, I'm going to ask you to remove your tin foil, you conspiracy theorist. No,
You wait till July.
I will wait. I can't wait to see England finish third in their group.
Behind Scotland?
No, actually, no. We'll get out of that. No, off you go, Scotland. Yeah, no, of course, in regards to whole congratulations, obviously. Well done.
I am gutted, though, that we haven't got to see us play Gills. And
yeah,
there are one of the positives that I did take from getting relegated is the amount of grounds that I want to go to in League One, which obviously I can't do with Hull City, but I'll be able to do over. I was about to say over the coming seasons with Gillingham, but I hope that Gillingham could join us in the Championship.
I'm glad we could be your second best team. Like you're the team you support in the lower leagues. You know what I mean? Like
you get all those people. Oh, so what's your Premier League club?
What's your Premier League club? Yeah,
what's my League One club? Derby at this rate.
We'll get there. But also, we have to give some form of congratulations to Peterborough, because they. Right, okay.
Have you seen that penalty?
Oh, I was literally
That's a shocker.
I was literally just about to say.
Absolute shocker. Tom Daly would be proud of that.
Basically, yeah, no, it's the penalty decision that got Peterborough to the 96th minute is one of the worst penalty decisions I've ever seen in football. We will say we'll link it in our tweet, but let's face it, we will forget. 3-0 down, obviously the character to come 3-0, from 3-0 down against Lincoln, who wanted to beat them for that at least outside chance of getting promotion, but obviously now that's gone. Kept Hull near enough right to the end. They were quite. There was times where, to be fair, the top 4 or 5, I'm sure at one point were top of the league.
Yeah, so I think I'd say it's probably out of us and Lincoln who have spent the longest at the top, because we had a lot of, the first probably 10 weeks we were top, to be honest, because I think we won the first 6 in a row. And then Lincoln spent a lot of time up the top. Peterborough have had their weeks. I think even Doncaster had a few weeks.
Oh, yeah, because Doncaster were 10, 12 games unbeaten at one point, weren't they?
And then was it Darren Moore who went off to Sheffield Wednesday? And it's kind of all looked down since then. I'm trying to think I don't know whether Portsmouth have always had outside shot. I don't think they were ever top. I think there might have been a week that Ipswich were top. And Sunderland, I think, started poorly. And it looked like in recent weeks that they would go up, and they just haven't. But
my word, what's happened there? Yeah.
I don't think they were ever top.
No.
But yeah, to be honest, until sort of the last month or so, it had been absolutely wide open. Because, I think for until kind of the last month, it was very much a 4-horse race of us, Lincoln, Peterborough and Sunderland. And then gradually they've just sort of had their poor spell, and we haven't, and Peterborough have sort of survived out of the rest. But because I think, what is it now? Something like 36 points from a possible 42.
Okay.
from our last, what would that be, 14 games?
Any games.
Yeah, we think we're 14 games unbeaten. Yeah, unbelievable. And it's a clean slate for Grant McCann next season, and I don't think the plan's been written up yet on what our intentions are for next season. But yeah, I think, as I said last week, comfortable from safety, get us mid-table, get us never really in danger of going down, and just kind of give us a platform to build on in the coming seasons so that hopefully we can have a chance of getting back to the Premier League at some point in the next decade or so.
I started my sentence off with congratulations to Peterborough. You still made it about Hull.
No. You were talking about all the teams that were top.
All right, okay. And then obviously, yeah, Hull were, yeah.
Oh, sorry, we're massive.
Yeah, absolutely gargantuan. Lewis Grabham.
Oh, he hates Derby.
He hates Derby, absolutely hates Derby. We watched the Forest Wednesday game together. Penalty, absolutely. I don't know what Kieran Westwood is even arguing about in that game, but hey-ho. Lewis Grabham steps up to take it. Now, Kieran Westwood has come up against 47 penalties in his career, and he's only saved 14. And 5 of those have come in the last 6 years. I think we worked it out, something like that. Yeah. Let's just say Derby fans weren't too impressed. The fact that everyone could kind of see where Grabban was going in that penalty. I saw a tweet which was quite funny, is that 90% of Derby fans want Forest to win and 90% of Forest fans want Forest to lose. And that is, well, that says a lot about the situation that Derby have gotten themselves into, because they're
bottle jobs.
You're 2-1 up against Swansea. No, you're 1-0 up against Swansea. Now, Swansea was, I think, it was either Rooney's first full game in charge, or it was like the game that got him the role. And they won 2-0.
It would have been when he was interim manager.
Yeah, it must have been, yeah. And 1-0, Tom Lawrence, up the two, come on. 1-0, Tom Lawrence scores. And the celebrations that came after that, it looked like a Team United. They were together. But if there's anyone to score the equaliser and potentially send your home team down, it's the player that Rooney basically went, you're not good enough to play for us, get out. He scores a header against them, celebrates, which is fair enough. It was, the Sky commentator said it, Morgan Whittaker, he was a mascot at Derby against Manchester United, and I think he met Rooney and just cheekily asked for a try. We give him a trial, and they said fine. And then obviously he played for Derby from there. He's from Derby.
You see, he was asked after the game if he wanted to see Derby stay up, and he completely ignored the question, which means no.
Well, yeah, they didn't.
I can get that there's probably bitterness about him leaving. I understand that, but end of the day, it's your hometown club.
Yes.
You'd want them to have success, but
the problem is that if you were to ask any Derby fan, was he good enough to play for Derby? Every answer would be no. He wasn't good enough. He's a striker, played about 30 games, scored 1 goal. And Swansea, I think he's played about 20 games, and that was his first. I think that was his first goal for Swansea.
Is he a striker?
Apparently,
but I thought he might be playing like midfield.
No, he's technically a striker, but I don't know if Swansea deployed him on the wing. But yeah, it's of course it has to be, doesn't it? It has to be. It happens in every game. The player that obviously left, they get the goal back. Welbeck always does it against Man United. He always celebrates like it's his first ever club goal. But that leads me on to a question that we didn't ask. I've not written down, but I'd just be interested to know. Goals against your former club, would you celebrate?
Completely depends club to club. I wouldn't. If I'd had a poor experience at a club, I wouldn't. I'd celebrate. But if it's a matter of it's a club that you played 5+ years for, or it's your hometown club or whatever, then if the club means something to you, then no, I don't celebrate.
No, the thing that annoys me the most about people that don't celebrate. Lampard, I think when he scored against Chelsea, he kind of just walked away. I can get behind that. But it's the players that put their hands up and goes, oh, no. It's like, well, don't shoot then. If you, oh, sorry, I didn't mean it. Oh, sorry, I don't want to score against you. Well, don't shoot. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing that annoys me the most. I don't know why we got onto this tangent, but that's the thing that annoys me the most about players that don't celebrate. Fine, don't celebrate, walk away, do whatever. Or do a Rooney where he kisses the badge in front of the Everton fans and goes mental. There are ways about celebrating, but the putting the hands up, I can't stand it. It's just like, well, don't play then. Simple as that. But anyway, but yeah, Derby, they simply have to win against Sheffield Wednesday. I don't even think they can draw.
No, draw's
no,
fine.
Sorry.
Well, it depends on what Rotherham do midweek. But presuming that Rotherham don't pick up 4 or more points from their last 2 games, then Derby would just have to draw. But But you're asking a Derby team to draw that hasn't picked up a point in, 5 or 6 games?
Might be even more than that. But no, yeah, because Rotherham 1-0 against Blackburn, 86th minute free kick to...
It was good.
Yeah, it was. And worrying that, Rotherham have a chance that, they can pick up, they can do it. Granted, the Blackburn side that they're playing, I don't think Tony Mowbray's going to be there next season. I think he really lost it. I think just after February, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defeats in a row, a draw and another defeat, that's sackable. He might leave, I don't know, but I'm not ITK indicator working at KFC. So, yes, obviously Rotherham's game in hand that they have to win simply just to stay up is against Luton. This is a Luton side which is currently unbeaten in 5 going into the game. They lost to Derby. I don't know if that means anything. Probably because...
That must have been Derby's last win.
Yeah.
Was it about 3 months ago?
So maybe they don't like playing against the lower teams. But Derby, yes, they've 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've lost 6 in a row. Their last points, yes, you were right, came against Luton 2-0 at the 2nd of April. Who scored? Gregory and probably Graham Shinney penalty. So, and then before that win, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unbeaten. 7 unbeaten. 7 not winning.
Yeah, okay.
The opposite of unbeaten.
Yeah.
Not being able to beat anyone. If I have to make you say yes or no right now, are Derby, next time we do this podcast, this time next week, are we saying Derby are a League One side?
No, because I don't expect Rotherham to get 4 or more points. I can maybe see them winning against Luton. The draw, I can see them, if I had to guess, I'd say a draw against Luton, but I think they'd lose to Cardiff, because Cardiff won't sort of give in. When it came to the last game of the season last season, it was them who we played on our last game of the season. They won 3-0 convincingly. They were well up for the game from minute 1 and they did enough to win. And also this weekend, I think they won 4-0 with Harry Wilson getting a hat-trick.
Yeah.
So they're not on the beach, not yet.
No.
I don't think Rotherham stay up. And I think... I know you're just asking for a team to get 1 point, but this is a team that hasn't got a point in 6 games. But I just think that Derby will be able to dig in and 1-1. 1-1. It'll be a proper nail biter. I think they're
at home as well, which
just about to, yeah. But is that
Sheffield Wednesday don't do well away from home?
Yeah, no, there is that. But yeah, it's going to be close. It's going to be dead close. But I think...
I mean, would you remember last year? I think before kick-off yesterday, Barnsley were bottom of the league, 4 points off. And somehow they stayed up. And they're now challenging for Premier League.
Also got to say, though, Forest didn't want to win on Saturday. They didn't win on Saturday. But Sheffield Wednesday didn't look a good side. They were given kind of opportunities to create and they don't look a good side. And I'm saying Derby will stay up simply because there are 2 results that keep Derby up. There is only 1 that sends them down.
Okay, yeah, no, odds are against it. Obviously, I'm sat here wearing my Derby shirt. I do hope they stay up. Of course I do. Up the Rams.
The Rams.
Now, we've mentioned it. We talked about it last week, and I'll mention it again this week because Wycombe Wanderers have taken it. I know they're down. I know mathematically they can still do it if they score 15 goals, but they have genuinely taken it to the final game of the season to be confirmed as relegated. Now, I went onto the Wycombe hashtag. I went onto the EFL hashtag. I wanted to have a look because they beat Bournemouth 1-0, which is a cracking result, a brilliant result. And it seems like all the fans that were, what are Wycombe doing in the Championship? What are they doing? All this. Have come around and been like, relegated in February was pretty much what everyone expected of Wycombe. And, they're taking it to the final game and they're showing heart. They know they're down, but they're showing fight. They're showing togetherness and heart, which is a lot more than, Derby are doing at this very moment in time. I love it. I think they've been absolutely brilliant to watch and see in the Championship. And they've really they've just gone out there and they've just loved every minute of it because they know they're a League One side. They're not Championship quality, but they've gone, who cares? Let's just play some football. And again, some of the results they've got, they're 40 points, they're same amount of points as Sheffield Wednesday, barring obviously the deduction. And Rotherham obviously is still on 40 points as well. I'd love it if Wycombe would not finish last. For me, if you had said that to Gareth Ainsworth, I feel like he'd be honest enough to say, not bottom of the Championship, yeah? I'd take that. Yeah, but Borough haven't exactly been amazing. So no, I just, it's worth saying, obviously we mentioned it last week, next week's podcast obviously is the end of the EFL, so we will probably mention again, goodbye Wycombe, because at least then it will be confirmed. It's, 15 goals, it's just not going to happen. Elliot, we briefly touched on Peterborough going up. up as well. I say briefly touched because, again, you turned it into Hull winning the league.
Well, we said about the shocking penalty. All that needs to be mentioned.
Yeah, the penalty was awful. Let's mention, obviously, commiserations to Northampton and maybe not so much Rochdale, because I didn't like Rochdale were just constant. The teams that slagged off Gillingham, there were a fair few. There was one particular Rochdale fan who absolutely hated us. And to him, I say, bye-bye. No, but...
Yeah, but they got Paul McShane, so I'll be sad to see him go into the fourth tier.
And Southend as well. I think it was the first time that they've left the Football League since 1920, which Phil Brown,
years,
Phil Brown came in just too late, and
the damage had been done. It threatened to go down a few times in recent years anyway, so it's been a little while coming. I know they've been poorly run again, so
almost like the EFL don't have a good system in place to know whether owners are good enough to own football clubs.
Fit and proper, apparently.
Fit and proper. Yeah, sort of very good. Yeah, fit and proper. Crap, that's what it is. Just so you know as well, when we finished last week's podcast, I came into the living room and I said to Elliot, Jose Mourinho was sacked. And we never mentioned it. And we were like, oh yeah, Elliot, Jose Mourinho was sacked a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Deserved.
Yeah.
There you go. There's our talk on the Jose Mourinho chat. It's your last old firm derby. You're the hardest man in Celtic, let's say. I don't know.
Got Blun.
Yes, cracking Scottish accent. You'd want to show up your rivals. Unbeaten? Nah, who cares? No, you get nutmegged and subbed off in 60th minute, you lose 4-1. Anything more to add?
He's a player who I've never really been massively convinced about his footballing ability, but you'd love him in your team simply just because he's Scott Blun. He's just a hard man. It's like probably if you thought of hard men in the sort of Premier League eras, think of Roy Keane, and I was never actually massively. He was never kind of footballing ability on the same level as the players around him, but he's in there for his character and for his aggression and what he did bring to the game. Yeah, he's just the Scottish League Roy Keane, but I've never massively cared for him. But it is the end of an era, because it would always be dead easy to see that he was going to get booked every single game. And there's been loads of instances where players have targeted him, and the players got sent off, and he's just stood up and celebrated it. But
walk off, yeah, he does the walk. Yeah.
But it's the end of an era, and could be the start of a new era in Scotland with the season that Rangers have had. I think now, with them playing Celtic for the last time this season, they should be fully expected to go the season unbeaten.
Well, let's do a European Roundup. We don't do European Roundups very often. We don't really follow.
Are we counting Scotland as European Roundup?
They had a referendum and they said no to leave. So no, you made your choice. You're staying in our UK section. We don't get to do a European Roundup very often. I say we don't get to do one. We just don't do one because we don't really follow European football as much. But it's fair to say this week some stuff has happened. Barcelona lost 2-1 in the title race to Granada, I believe it was, who had 18% possession, which is hilarious to me, how anyone with so little possession can score 2 goals. It's just how on earth they did that. And Inter, finally, someone else has won the Serie A, or Calcio A as it was named, for 2 seasons, I think it was.
Was that simply just for licensing reasons on FIFA? I think it's always been the Serie A. But
I'm sure it was the Calcio A because I am sure. Calcio.
I have a feeling it's just FIFA. It's like Juventus is Pimente Calcio at the moment because they've got the licensing with Pro Evolution Soccer.
Oh no, you are right.
There's you living in FIFA land.
I genuinely thought it was renamed Calcio A for a few years, but no, that's because FIFA couldn't get the licensing.
They still don't for most, a lot of it, yeah. And also, AS Roma is known as Roma FC.
Ooh, I wonder who they are.
It might even be Rome FC. It's a weird one, but money.
Conte obviously won the league. He seems to be a bit of a proven manager, old Conte, doesn't he? It's almost as if...
Take him at Tottenham?
Yeah, he's passionate, he plays quite good football, he wins stuff. And again, Mourinho won stuff.
And he's also a former Chelsea manager. And...
Yeah. But no, of course, anyone. Well, it was every time. I swear, every time on Twitter I saw a manager linked with Tottenham, the next day they signed a pre-contract or signed an extension on their current contract.
No one wants to be at Tottenham.
Absolutely no no one wants to manage Tottenham. And yeah, because obviously you don't know if Kane's going to be there next year. Daniel Levy is very renowned at being a very hard man to bargain with, especially with the Super League. That hasn't helped his reputation. So yeah, congratulations to Inter Milan on winning FIFA's Calcio A.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it that from now on because I believe. Obviously, it's worth mentioning the Champions League. Man City it was 2-1. They won 2-1 against PSG in a game where I've seen the worst wall probably ever put.
No, it's the worst wall since the Juventus one.
That's fair. However, it just went through, and Chelsea 1-1 against Real Madrid. That's still
the Man
open.
City game was by far the better game.
Of course it was, yeah.
Those two.
We played a music quiz during the second half of the Real Madrid game because we got a bit bored.
I can't wait for that this week.
But what you're feeling? Champions League final?
If I had to guess, I mean, I'd say Man City. They've got their 2 away goals.
Yeah.
They're going back to Manchester. I'd say that they're through. And Chelsea Real one is difficult to call. As much as I'd like to see Chelsea, I just think Benzema will turn up, and you can never count Real out of the Champions League. It doesn't matter how good they are on paper. Their competition. It's like saying that Man City won't win the League Cup.
Yeah, no, that's fair point. And the Europa League I think it's going to be Man City, Real Madrid, personally. Yeah, and obviously the Europa League, Man United are obviously in the final. You win. If you lose a 6-2 advantage, you are essentially PSG. But they turned it on. Holy hell!
I watched the first half. I thought this isn't that great. I'll turn it off.
I thought that Man United Roma was going to be quite close.
It was.
Well, it was. Well, it was. And then Chris Smalling decided, who do I play for again? And then
Maidstone.
And then Villarreal Arsenal, which was a bit of a shock to me. Oh, good evening.
Yeah,
but they do only need to win 1-0, as you said.
I think Villarreal will go through there though, because it's Emery's trophy. The amount of times he won at Seville, and yeah, for me, I think that's a United Villarreal final with United pretty comfortably in the final 2-0.
Yeah, I think United. I would have said Tottenham would have won it. I think I did have Tottenham to win the Europa League.
So
did a lot of people, I think. But as soon as they got eliminated,
and also
United came in from the Champions League.
Yeah, as soon as United came in as well, they must have gone in as favourites or in with Tottenham. And
yeah, no, I agree. It's all about that Europa Conference League next. Go up the Conference League. Let's do a new context. Let's do a no context news to end the podcast.
We'll just mention that we were going to do a quiz this week.
Oh yeah.
And then it got to about half an hour before recording, and Sam said, "Oh, have you done a quiz this week?" I said, "No, I haven't." Neither had he. So we are going to do the quiz. We are going to do the quiz next week.
Yes.
Even though the result does not matter, because just like Hull City, the title's already been won.
Unbearable. I told you. That'll be my first question next week.
Who is unbearable?
Who is unbearable? No, yeah, in our super inconsistent, when are we going to release a quiz every month? It did start out the first weekend of every month, and then I got COVID, and then everything just
Cheers
to pot.
Cheers, COVID.
Well, on COVID, nice one. Cheers, Sam's crying, nice one. Elliot, you got no context news to end the podcast?
I do, and I think it's one of the better ones, to be honest. It comes from the ever popular Fox News.
Oh dear.
It is. McDonald's robber demands chicken nuggets, but has to accept breakfast food because he was too early. Apparently, the suspect had to accept a McMuffin instead.
Oh my word. Wait, so he was a robber, and they've literally said, don't rob us of our nuggets, but you can rob us of a McMuffin.
It was before 11 o'clock, so...
So they just allowed him.
Have you ever gone into McDonald's at like 11:01 or 10:31 as it used to be? You can see the McMuffins behind the counter, and they will not sell you them because the time has gone. So it's just, they will die on that hill giving breakfast food only at breakfast times. They'll have all the chicken nuggets behind, but even if you're at gunpoint, only have an egg and bacon McMuffin. But yeah, that's the No Context News, and we thank you for listening. We are Through on Goal podcast, and we are absolutely everywhere, and I know that winds Sam up, but we are anywhere you search for Through on Goal podcasts, we'll be there.
I'm sure.
So thank you once again for listening, and we will speak to you next week after Hull City lifted the trophy, and hopefully Derby are still in the Championship.
I am dreading next week's podcast.
And also, with all things being good, Gillingham will still be in League One next Sunday.
And I will not be hosting the podcast next week. So for the final time, I've been Sam.
I've been Elliot.
And Elliot will see you next week. Cheers. Thank you.
Bye-bye.